Heyo, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Ace. This is Fantasized Football. We are back once again bringing y'all some more fantasy football content for the 2021 fantasy football season. And I am here today to bring y'all my favorite waiver wire targets for week 10 of the fantasy football season. But as always, before we get into that, quick shout out to each and every one of y'all that come by on a weekly basis, helping the channel to grow, showing your boys some love and support. Seriously, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I could not thank you guys enough. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. I do hope you enjoyed today's video. If you do, make sure you leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Help me reach my goal of 500 subscribers on YouTube by the end of the fantasy football season. I would appreciate any and all help reaching that goal. But week 9 is in the books. It is behind us, right? I hope you guys enjoyed the weekend, you enjoyed your football, and you smashed your fantasy football matchups. So it's time. We here. We got the waiver wire targets. I got quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight end, DST stream of the week, deep sleepers, all that good stuff. Quick sidebar though, quick note. Just want to let you guys know I moved up the schedule again a little bit, right? I want to provide that quality content for y'all. Tuesdays were getting a little bit too hectic for me, so I'm here on Monday recording this video. So if anything happens during the Monday night games, moving forward, I will be posting it on my Twitter and on my Instagram. Make sure you follow me over there. Links will be down in the description below. But we have a lot to talk about today. So without further ado, let's kick it off with my QB stream of the week, which is going to be Teddy Bridgewater of the Denver Broncos. Listen, I'm here again. I'm here once again telling you to stream Teddy Bridgewater, currently rostered in 24.2% of leagues. Unfortunately, there's not a whole hell of a lot out there at the quarterback position. It seems like a lot of fantasy managers are starting to roster multiple quarterbacks. So I am here telling you, yes, stream Teddy Bridgewater. He's going to match up here at home versus Philadelphia. Philadelphia has allowed 297 or more yards and 2 or more touchdowns to the quarterback position in 3 of the last 4 games. And I expect a relatively close game here, relatively competitive game between the Broncos and between the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, Teddy has not been no world beater. Trust me, I know. But he hasn't been bad either. He's had 300 or more yards or 2 touchdowns in 6 out of 9 games this season. So I look at him as at least as kind of like a floor play. So if you got a bye week, injury, whatever it may be, you need to fill your quarterback position this week, I'd be streaming Teddy Bridgewater. But moving on from quarterback, we're going to hop over to running back. And the first player I want to talk about is Devonta Freeman of the Baltimore Ravens, currently rostered in 13.4% of leagues. Running back's thin this week, and it's probably going to be that way for the most part moving forward for waivers, right? We're at the point in the season where if there's not an injury, then you're probably not going to see too much of changing in roles on teams, right? Because players have kind of cemented their roles. If there's an injury, something will happen. But if not, running back's kind of set in stone. But there was no Latavius Murray, but Devonta Freeman was good this week. He has scored a touchdown in each of the last 3 games. And he looks like he got a little injection of new life here for the Baltimore Ravens. We know this is a very valuable role. Whoever the lead back is going to be for the Ravens. He saw a season high 15 touches in week 9. He's going to match up here against Miami in week 10, who have allowed 10 or more PPR points to the running back position in 8 out of 9 games this season. So if you need help at the running back position, you need kind of a spot start, throw a claim in on Devonta Freeman. Hope he finds the end zone. Hope he keeps running hard and smashes it out here against Miami. But there is another player that situationally I might like a little bit more than Devonta Freeman. It's Brandon Bolden of the New England Patriots, currently rostered in 7.4% of leagues. Now, Bateman Harris and Ramondre Stevenson both left the game early with head injuries. Now, I haven't heard much about it, right? This is Monday. It's Monday for me. It's Tuesday for you, but it's Monday for me. So if we hear that Bateman Harris, Ramondre Stevenson, either of them are going to be good to go, I don't know if they're in concussion protocol. I would assume they are. But if they were to miss time, if both were to miss time, Brandon Bolden is going to be very valuable. Even if just one misses time, his value, his stock, his role obviously is going to go up. The Patriots want to run the ball. They're averaging 27 rush attempts per game this season. In a perfect world, they're going to try to control the game with their defense and run the rock. He's already been involved in the passing game. And like I said, if they're both going to miss time, Ramondre Stevenson and Bateman Harris, Brandon Bolden's likely the next man up and probably seeing 15 or more touches a game. So if you want to run the risk, go with Brandon Bolden. If you hear something, if we find out that both, even one, are going to miss time, I like Brandon Bolden. I like Devonta Freeman. Those are the 2 running backs that I'd be looking at on waivers this week. But moving on from running back, we're going to hop on over to wide receiver. And this is a bit more fruitful. The first player I want to talk about is Elijah Moore of the New York Jets, currently rostered in 15.3% of leagues. He's coming off of his best game of the season where he had 8 targets, 7 catches, 84 yards, and he scored 2 touchdowns. He tied his season high in targets with 8 targets. He's seen 6 or more targets in each of the last 3 games. Now, it's a little weird because it has been Mike White, but Elijah Moore's been good. Hopefully, Zach Wilson, if he does come back this week, will have seen that and will be looking to target Elijah Moore more, right? Elijah Moore more. More Elijah Moore, please, right? More Elijah Moore, please. More Elijah Moore. When we see more volume, though, going to rookies, that's when you want to hop on them. I've said this a lot throughout the season, throughout the offseason. When you do see the volume coming to the rookie wide receivers, that's when you want to hop on them. So that's why I'm saying now is a good time to get on Elijah Moore. He could be cementing himself a larger role in this offense. He's got a tough matchup, divisional matchup against Buffalo here in Week 10, but then he gets Miami, Houston, and Philadelphia in his next 3. But moving on from one rookie to another rookie, it's my boy Rashad Bateman. Rashad Bayman. Rashad Bateman currently rostered in 24.8% of leagues, of course, of the Baltimore Ravens. Now, if you've been following the channel since the offseason, you know that I absolutely loved Rashad Bateman. I was in love with Rashad Bateman. It broke my heart when I wasn't able to get after him more because he did obviously suffer that injury, but he has been relatively good. He's been relatively consistent since coming back in these last 3 weeks. He saw a season high, although only 3 games, of 8 targets last week. He's seen 6 or more targets in each of the 3 games he's played this season. Seems like he's got some chemistry with Lamar. Lamar likes to throw the ball to him, and we've seen the Ravens, like I kind of predicted throughout the offseason, throwing the ball more frequently, being less one-dimensional and trying to get their pass catchers more involved. Lamar's been chucking it a little more. He's had 30 or more pass attempts in 6 out of 8 games this season. We've seen it with Marquise Brown, with Mark Andrews, that they have been benefactors of the Ravens throwing the ball more, so hopefully that can be the same for Rashad Bateman. But with Bateman, with Elijah Moore out of the way, another wide receiver I really like. Talked about him last week, so I won't go crazy here. It's Russell Gage of the Atlanta Falcons, currently rostered in 16% of leagues. Now, everyone was scared off of Russell Gage because he had 0 targets in the first game without Ridley. Well, guess what? He had 8 targets last week. What did I say last week? Add Russell Gage. He had a great game. He had 8 targets, and I expect him to be the top wide receiver, keyword, wide receiver option on this Atlanta Falcons team. There's going to be plenty of volume to go around here. So if you need help at wide receiver, Russell Gage is another player that I like. But moving on from Russell Gage, we're going to hop on over to the last wide receiver I got here, and it's going to be Tim Patrick of the Denver Broncos, currently rostered in 24.7% of leagues. I like Tim Patrick, man. He's just a good player. He's got good hands. I'm sure he's a good guy in real life, too. I'm sure he is. He seems like a great guy. How would I know? I don't know, but hopefully he is. I love you, Tim Patrick. He's a good guy, right? But he's been pretty consistent throughout the year. He's had 60 or more yards or a touchdown in 7 of 9 games this season. He's going to find a way to score some points. I look at him as kind of a relatively safe floor play that's not really going to win you the week, not really going to lose you the week more often than not. So Tim Patrick, I probably wouldn't be prioritizing over some of these more high upside guys. But if you need help, you're in a little deeper league, maybe you're in a 12-team league, you got a low waiver priority, you need to fill in a bye week, spot started a flex, I do like Tim Patrick a lot. But that wraps up the wide receiver. We'll hop on over to tight end. And the first player I want to talk about, you heard that right. The first player, I actually got more than one tight end this week. Isn't that crazy? Evan Ingram of the New York Giants, currently rostered in 26.8% of leagues. Now, the reason why I have multiple tight ends is because Evan Ingram's on a bye in week 10, right? And I wanted to at least give you guys an option to stream. But Evan Ingram has had 10 or more PPR points in each of his last 3 games. He's a talented player, right? We know Evan Ingram's a talented player. Unfortunate circumstances, kind of his role in this offense has been a little bit weird, but the way he's been playing over these past 3 weeks, hopefully he can cement himself a larger role, see more opportunity moving forward. So I do like Evan Ingram. Could be a long-term solution at tight end for any of us that don't have one of those Darren Wallers, George Kittles, Travis Kelce's, Hawkinsons, Mark Andrews of the world, right? But if you need to stream the tight end position here in week 10, the player I'm looking at is Dan Arnold of the Carolina Panthers. And even, I don't even hate it if you like Dan Arnold more than Evan Ingram. I couldn't really blame you, honestly. He's currently rostered in 17.3% of leagues. He's averaging 7.5 targets per game over these last 4 weeks. Seems like he's kind of developing a role in this offense, more of a role with Sam Darnold. I have talked about Dan Arnold already, so I don't want to go too crazy. Sam Darnold to Dan Arnold. rolls off the tongue anyways, right? Sam Darnold to Dan Arnold. Now, Sam Darnold has been rough. He has not been looking great. I guess he's getting an MRI on his shoulder too, so this one's a little bit risky. But Sam Darnold being on a downswing, if he can kind of pick it up and get it going and its roll continues, the volume continues for Dan Arnold, we should see some positive regression in terms of his yardage, in terms of his touchdowns, in terms of touchdowns. Speaking of touchdowns, right? Dan Arnold is in for some positive regression. He has yet to score this season. He's got a matchup here with Indianapolis as well, who have allowed a touchdown to the tight end position in 4 out of the last 6 games. So this could be the opportunity. This could be the time where Dan Arnold finally finds the end zone. But that wraps up my main portion of the waivers. Let's quickly go to my DST stream of the week and then hop on over to the deep sleepers. Now, my DST stream of the week, this is kind of tough, right? Because I'm starting to notice as well, kind of like quarterback, a lot of these defenses are actually rostered like over 50% of leagues, and I try to go for under 40%. Throw your bone real quick. Cleveland is one that I like a lot this week against New England, but they were rostered in over 50% of leagues. So I picked the Tennessee Titans here, right? Now, you might be thinking, Austin, what is wrong with you? Why would you stream the Titans, right? Well, the Titans are only rostered in 6.8% of leagues, and they've quietly been very good over these last 3 weeks. They're averaging 16.7 points allowed, nearly 2 interceptions and a fumble recovery, and they've had 12 or more fantasy points in each of their last 3 matchups, and they've had 2 defensive touchdowns in the last 3 games. Now, they're going up against a Trevor Siemian-led Saints team. I just don't trust Trevor Siemian. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just not sold on Trevor Siemian being a capable quarterback, and with how Tennessee's been playing, we're just kind of riding the hot hand here. So, right, if the Browns aren't available, a lot of these defenses that you would want to be playing this week are not available, and Tennessee's all that's out there, and there's no other matchups you like, I would be comfortable streaming the Tennessee Titans defense here in Week 10. But now it's time to move on to the finishing touches, the end of the video, the deep sleepers portion. This is for all y'all in your deeper leagues. Now, I got quarterback, I got a running back, I got a few wide receivers, and I got a tight end for y'all. It's a little bit thinner here this week. This week of waivers was a little bit weird, but whatever. I'm, of course, still bringing y'all something. I still got something. If I wasn't, then I wouldn't be doing my job, and there's one thing that I always do. It's my damn job, all right? I'm here to do my job. So my quarterback stream of the week for y'all in the deeper leagues is going to be Ben Roethlisberger, Big Ben of the Pittsburgh Steelers, currently rostered in 17% of leagues. Now, I get it. Big Ben has not been good. It's Monday. He might have a big game here against Chicago. If he does, great. But on a note of great, he's got a great matchup with the Detroit Lions. We're going to be quick with these. We're going to kind of fire through these deep sleepers, get this video done. The Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions have allowed 270 or more yards and 3 touchdowns to quarterbacks in 2 of the last 3 weeks. An exploitable matchup for Big Ben. So if you need to stream the position, you're in a deeper league, you're in a 2 QB league, you're in a super flex league, whatever it may be, and Big Ben's out there, I would be comfortable with streaming him here in Week 10. Now, moving on, I only have one running back, unfortunately, and I talked about him last week, but he's still widely available. It's Jordan Howard of the Philadelphia Eagles, currently rostered in 8.5% of leagues. He had 17 carries last week, 12 carries the week before. He's found the end zone 3 times in these 2 games where he's been more involved for the Eagles. So this one, you're kind of just hoping that he falls into the end zone, right? He's got a tough matchup against Denver, but again, I mentioned it with Bridgewater. I do expect this to be a relatively competitive game, and he should see the goal line opportunity. So if you need a spot start in a deeper league, Jordan Howard, only rostered in 8.5% of leagues, could be your guy. But now we're going to move over to wide receiver, and I got some wide receivers for you. I actually have a few here, and the first player I want to talk about, this is actually a player you might want to take a look at even if you're not in a deeper league. It's going to be DPJ, Donovan Peoples-Jones of the Cleveland Browns, currently rostered in 5.5% of leagues. Now, OBJ is on waivers. Odell is out of the picture for the Cleveland Browns, and it's more than likely that Donovan Peoples-Jones is now the top outside receiving option for the Cleveland Browns moving forward. He didn't see much volume last week, but he has been effective as a deep threat throughout the season, right? He's had 257 yards and 3 touchdowns over his last 3 active games. Like I said, I expect Donovan Peoples-Jones to kind of replace Odell and be that top outside receiving option for the Browns. So I do think he's worth a shot, especially in deeper leagues. Even if you're not in a deeper league and you think Donovan Peoples-Jones has a lot of upside, go ahead, take a shot. I do not hate it. He could be a player that ends up being very valuable. He does actually have a lot of upside here in this offense because there's not a lot of viable pass catchers on this team with OBJ out of the picture. Now, moving on, another wide receiver I like for deeper leagues is going to be Deonte Harris of the New Orleans Saints, currently rostered in 2.1% of leagues. Now, him and Siemian have some sort of connection. He's had 7 and 8 targets in these last 2 weeks, and he's leading the wide receiver position, keyword wide receiver position, reduction in targets with Trevor Siemian under center. This is a volume-based floor play. It's more of a PPR play here. I like Donovan Peoples-Jones. Deonte Harris, you're more of kind of just throwing a dart, see what happens. But clearly, him and Siemian do have some level of chemistry here. But moving on, another wide receiver I like a lot is Zach Pascal of the Indianapolis Colts, currently rostered in 8.5% of leagues. Now, Zach Pascal has had 7 and 8 targets in these last 2 weeks. Wow, I just realized that both Deonte Harris and Zach Pascal had 7 and 8 targets in the last 2 weeks. But he's had 5 or more targets in 8 out of 9 games this season. So his role's been consistent, right? He's going to get you at least 5 targets. He's going to get you, at worst, he's going to get you 3 for 30, 3 for 40, something like that. I mean, obviously he could have a dud game, but he's been relatively consistent in terms of his volume, and he's in for some positive regression in terms of the touchdowns as well. He has not found the end zone since week 2. In the first 2 weeks of the season, he had 3 touchdowns. So clearly him and Wentz had a connection towards the red zone. Michael Pittman's been more involved in that regard, but I think Zach Pascal is at least worth an add if you're in a deeper league, right? You just want to get kind of someone you can slot in bye weeks, injury options, whatever it may be, right? So I think Zach Pascal is a good guy to be looking at. He has an easy matchup here against Jacksonville in week 10, so maybe this will be the time that he finds the end zone again. Like I said, he has not been able to score a touchdown. He has not found the end zone since week 2, so maybe that positive regression comes here against Jacksonville. Now, moving on to the last player we have to talk about. I have to give you a tight end with a pulse here for you guys in deeper leagues, for you guys, for you girls, for all y'all in deeper leagues here. It's going to be Jeff Swaim. Jeff Swaim of the Tennessee Titans, currently rostered in, get this, 0.2% of leagues. He's got a pulse, man. He's had 4 and 5 targets in these last 2 games. He scored in each of the last 2 games, and I think it's just very likely the Titans are probably going to be throwing the ball more when they're around the red zone, when they're more closer to the end zone. We've seen it in the past with Jonnu Smith last season. Ryan Tannehill likes to target the tight end around the red zone, right? And with no Derrick Henry, like I just mentioned, I just think that the Titans probably throw the ball more around the red zone. He's got a matchup next week, like I said, with the Saints. It's likely probably going to be a shootout, or at least the Titans should be in a lot of scoring positions. So if you need to stream the tight end position in a deeper league, Jeff Swaim would be my guy. Whoa. Woo! That's it. We are done. That is all of them. That is all of them. You got it all for me today. You got all the main events. You got the DST stream of the week. You got the deep sleepers. All that good stuff is done. I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. If you did at any point, if you found it helpful, make sure that you leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Help me reach my goal of 500 subscribers on YouTube by the end of the fantasy football season. I would appreciate any and all help reaching that goal. Seriously, 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 from the bottom of my heart. Thank you guys so much for coming by all the time, showing your boy all the love and support. It really, honestly means the world to me. Make sure that you're following my socials. The links are down below. Like I said before, I'm recording this on Monday, so if something happens in this Monday night game, you're going to want to know what I think of it, right? You're going to want to know. So make sure you follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter as well. That is it. That is all. That is all there is. Me, my boy, we are out for today. I hope you guys have a great week, and I will catch y'all next time. And as always, thank you, love you, peace.